Hey everyone, welcome back. This is tip 2 of 5 as we're sharing 5 things that we feel like helped me not only launch my adventure with cancer, but helped me on my healing journey. I'm joined here by my beautiful wife, Caroline, and what we want to do today is just share a few tips of what we did, a few mistakes we made, and some things that we've now learned in regards to supplements. And if you happen to be someone who is helping a family member, a friend, or even yourself with a diagnosis of cancer or any health issue, this can be a topic that can be overwhelming. It can be difficult to know what to take, where to start, and what to do. So first of all, just be easy on yourself and know that for us, we were able to journey through stage 4 advanced cancer, reverse it, and along with that, heal me from being pre-diabetic, having thyroid issues, having high risk for heart disease, eczema, and all kinds of things, even though we made lots of mistakes. All right? So you can do this. So let's dive in real quick. And since Caroline is the brains behind our operation, and really is the one that does a good job of being able to know the specific things that I did. Like I said, the specific things that we've learned, and then maybe a few of the mistakes that we've made. I'm just going to kind of ask her, Caroline, do you remember what were, like, before you dived into all the research, before you really knew what we needed to do to help my body heal? I know you were already kind of into health on some level for, last 10 years or so. What were a few of the things that you had me get on almost immediately when we found out that I had cancer? Do you remember those, and could you share those with everyone?
Yeah, so one of the very first things that we started with was turmeric. That was an easy one because it's so heavily known for so many benefits. So Ryan was taking turmeric capsules, and he was even drinking turmeric through some of his juices, which was a little tough at first, but it's definitely worth it. Another thing that we started you with immediately was the fact that I had always known that when someone has disease, their immune system is compromised. So Ryan immediately started taking things for the immune system, such as certain mushrooms, vitamins like selenium, the B vitamins, the folate vitamins, things like that to just give him that immune boost that I knew that his body needed. So there were several other different things. In the beginning, there's so much information that it was kind of hard to know what to start with. One thing that we did add to Ryan's supplement list very quickly was I had already heard about B17, basically like apricot seeds. So Ryan actually immediately started taking some of those because I had learned quickly about them, because in the alternative world, there's a lot of research going on about apricot seeds. So he started taking those as well.
Okay, so there's a few tips on kind of like what I did immediately. What have you learned, Caroline, along this journey? And I mean, I'm still taking a lot of supplements today. I've done some math, and I'm pretty sure I'm somewhere in that 3,000 pill range over the last 16 months.
Yeah.
Just doing some rough estimates, What have you found? Because some people, are leery of taking too many supplements. Some say the supplements can be a little bit rough on the liver, but obviously you've learned, I think, some things maybe around deficiencies. Like, what would just be a couple of easy tips that might help someone new to their cancer journey or their situation with a disease for themselves or a family member or friend that you feel like could be helpful? What have you learned in that area?
Yeah, so a few things. One of the immediate things that we learned when we decided to come to the Chipsa Hospital in Mexico is they talked about taking pills throughout the day. So it's always better that the more you can spread the supplements, then your body will absorb more of it. So that was a quick tip that I initially did not understand because I was having you take so many pills at once. So definitely spreading the supplements. The other thing is when you decide to go along different programs. For example, we followed the Gerson program once we started into our adventure. Is they had preset supplements, which was very helpful because then I was able to learn about those. So for example, the Gerson program has the pancreatic enzymes and niacin and CoQ10 and several other things that like they did have the B12 shots and some different things. So that was helpful. That once we kind of settled into a program, usually they kind of help you know how to structure supplements and how they work together. Part of it is you also have to be careful that you don't have supplements that work against each other. So that's why it is always great to get some form of medical professional advice on those supplements and how they work for you and how they work together or not. Then later on in our journey, when Ryan had suffered a lot of fluid issues, I started learning about deficiencies. One thing I quickly learned is that most people that have disease, especially in cancer, they are deficient in certain things in their body. Everyone's unique, so deficiencies are different. But like, for example, in May of 2013, the Mayo Clinic published quite a long article about vitamin D deficiency and its links to cancer, to diabetes, to, what was the other one, to heart disease. And they had talked about how doctors had underestimated the links of vitamin D deficiency to those diseases. So as I started learning about those things, sure enough, when Ryan got tested for vitamin D, he was very deficient. So we started filling in those deficiencies. Another thing is that part of Ryan's situation with the liver and the ascites and the fluid going on, when we did the micronutrient testing, it was a laboratory test that our doctor ordered. We found out that he was deficient in a lot of things that the liver needed. So he had deficiencies in alpha lipoic acid and choline and inositol and sulfur and glutathione, which are all big for the liver. Therefore, that's why the liver was under functioning and causing a lot of issues. So everybody's unique. Everybody has to kind of figure out what works for them, and they definitely need to work with medical professionals that will help them see what their needs are, because you can't just blanket anything across the board. But I think if you are aware that those things are a big possibility, that there's deficiencies, then you can fill in then what supplements each person needs.
What would you say, Caroline, because honestly, even just listening to you there, I can already feel like maybe people could get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
What are maybe one or two mistakes that you've made? And then as we're kind of wrapping up this tip, we want to keep it simple. I want to leave people with, well, let's just start there. What would you say are maybe one or two mistakes you've made in just the whole area of supplements?
Yeah, number one would be trying to do it all. For one, it's not necessarily good to be taking hundreds of supplements, because if you went with every single person's advice, you would probably be taking too many supplements. So what I kind of learned along the lines is learn what is kind of the generalities. What does everybody benefit from for multiple reasons? What would be general that most people are taking, that most medical professionals are saying, hey, you should take this. So go with the general ones and try to stay away from chasing the so-called take this pill will heal you. That really is not, it's not there. It's just, you're just chasing something in hopes. So we did that. I chased a few pills saying, Ryan, you got to take this. This is going to be, it. So I would try to just go with what everyone seems to be using and it working for them, and then not be chasing those things that that seem like they have like they're just the it pill or the special pill.
So real quick then, as we wrap up tip number 2 here, and make sure you stay tuned, folks, because there's going to be 3 more tips coming that I think you're going to really benefit from listening to in the next few days with the emails following this. What's like the 1 or 2 then simple thoughts that could be an action step for someone to take in regards to supplements if they're dealing with cancer or a health issue or got a family member dealing with that?
So I would say that one is take a deep breath, do the research, whatever that means to you, and just take it slow. I mean, it is good to be taking supplements and taking vitamins and taking minerals, but at the same time, let's not overrush it. And perfect. Second is definitely, it's important to work with medical professionals.
Yes.
Because they are usually very knowledgeable in what works together and what doesn't. And it also takes out a lot of pressure from yourself to try to figure it out on your own. When you have someone that's a professional that can give you the correct advice, that will kind of lift the burden of you having to figure it all out on your own.
So basically, people out there listening to us, one of the things we did very early on, and it'll be throughout all of our tips, everything we put out, our website, our content, books, when we speak, is we had to find people we trusted.
Yeah.
We've had to put together a team of people that could help us with, as I shared, diet in tip number 1, now supplements in tip number 2. And as we share other tips, just know that we didn't figure it out all just on our own. We became our own health advocates. We did our own research, but we had to start filtering through, like, who can we really trust? Who can we listen to? And who are we going to choose to move forward with? Because like she said, you can't do it all. All right. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Tip number 3 is going to be coming soon. We appreciate you listening.